we have a lake right there, so if anyone's thinking about converting to
There's a
Jews,
big bar right outside.
Right.
Oh, it'll be a brisk.
So I was going to say a little bit cold. I've done that.
I have two out in the lake.
But not in September.
No,
Not at the end of September.
no.
August. All right. Congregant to Oklahoma from when I was a fisherman.
I know, is that crazy? La 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 This suggestion from Alden Salavi, the path of righteousness, God of what was and what will be, of what might have been and might still be, God of past and future, of memories and beginnings, God of finite and of the infinite, of moments and possibilities. What is my life and what of my death? What of my choices and what of my future? What of this distance and what of the endless sky? What of the darkness and what of the light? God of the seen and unseen, of the known and unknowable, teach me patience and understanding as the mysteries of my life unfold. Teach me to live gently, love generously, and to walk with strength and confidence. Teach me to give and to receive, sharing your blessings in joy and sorrow. Teach me to see others through your eyes as children of God. And teach me to see myself and my life as you do, with love. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of life, guardian and shelter. You set your people on the path of righteousness, holiness and charity, kindness and grace, to return to you in devoted service. Blessed is your holy name. Welcome to you, Rabbi Manawith.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
We'd like to invite forward Sandy Chait, page 121.
Thank you.
Okay.
As these Sabbath candles give light to all who behold them, so may we be our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, and so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
page 123. I invite you to rise physically or spiritually for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki anu v'aharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat l'chaim.
It's so lovely to bring in light together. I noticed this week especially that it's starting to get darker earlier. You can feel it this week. And so it's so nice to be together and to bring in light and to bring Shabbat in together. We are going to continue with Mizmor Shir on page 140.
Mizmor Shir, you may be seated.
There you go.
Tov l'ador l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shem ha'elyon, u'lezamer l'shem ha'elyon, להגיד בבוקר הסתכה, ואמונה בלילות, עלה אסור ועלה נבל, עלה היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון, ולזמר לשמך העליון, כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. מה גלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשם העליון, ולזמר לשם העליון. צדיק התמר יפרח יפרח, צדיק התמר יפרח, middle of the page, צדיק התמר יפרח יפרח, צדיק התמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה. כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה.
Okay, so I have to tell this story because you are all reminding me. When I first began my career, I worked on college campus at Hillel. And at Hillel, all the students, all they wanted to do was be home with their families, and they couldn't be. And they were all together, and it really bothered them that everyone had a little bit of a different cadence and a little bit of a different tune. It really hit them hard. And as I'm listening to you today, I'm reminded of a few days ago when I led High Holy Day services. I've been leading High Holy Day services at the Carrington in Lincolnwood. It's a senior citizen facility, and I've been doing it for a few years. And there's someone new this year who, whenever I announced a page, would immediately from the very back of the room, but loudly, start to daven. Every Hebrew word, in exactly that way that you're imagining, right? Mizmor shir l'Yam Adonai, right? Just like that, really loudly. And the other congregants were displeased. And when I went on a hakafan, I brought the Torah around. Both his caregiver and he made sure to tell me that he was 100 years old.
Wow.
Right? And so, first of all, it is always my favorite thing when people are singing the melodies a little bit differently, because it's usually that way at the beginning of the service, and by the end of the service, we've created a community. But also, like thinking of that man as tzaddik katamar, right? The righteous will bloom like a date palm. There he is davening every year over and over again, whether he's in cadence with the community or not, bringing out his heart for 100 years.
Wow, amazing, right?
So there you go.
Beautiful story.
Where are we going to continue? We're going to continue on page 146. We invite you to rise in body or in spirit for Barchu. Oh, hold on. See? There you go. All right. It's all you.
Which one to do? There's so many.
Surprise me.
La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach hamevorach Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed le'olam va'ed.
We continue in Hebrew on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach sha'arim uvitvuna meshane itin umachalif et hazmanim umesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil ben yom uven layla Adonai tzvaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hashem Kevod Malto Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
In a world torn by violence and pain, page 157, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again, we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it's been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in the dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. 158. Thank you, Sam. That's exactly what I was going to sing. We'll do it in my key if that's okay, though. Mi kamacha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamacha nedar b'kodesh, nora zehilot usefa, malchutecha ra'u v'necha, b'kayam lifnei Moshe, Zeli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 162.
There you go.
V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam berit olam, v'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, lidorotam berit olam, beni ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, לעולם. ושמרו לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue with the Amidah on page 164.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh ha'akol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך, I'm so sorry, זוכרנו לחיים, ולחפץ בחיים, והודבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'ulam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah, Rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechakel chayim b'chesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somach noflim, ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני המלך הקדוש.
We're going to pause now for some moments of silent reflection. Please feel free to use the words on the page or the words from your own heart. We'll come back together on page 180.
Shalom Imrama Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael Ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel Vaimeru Amen.
We continue our services on page 362 with Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for reading of the Torah. This week, the Torah portion is Vayelech. Vayelech starts with, the beginning is Deuteronomy chapter 31 in the blue books, these blue books. You can follow along on page 1546. And in the other one? We don't have one.
I will grab it and find it for you. Don't
All right.
worry.
Or if we don't, it's Deuteronomy 31.
I invite you to rise. En kamahav Elohim Adonai ve'en kemasecha malchutcha malchut kol olamim u'memshacha b'chodor v'hador Adonai malach Adonai malach le'olam v'ad Adonai oz anointen Adonai oret et amon Aramim hitiva vetzorcha et Zion Tivnei Chomot Yerushalayim Tivnei Chomot Yerushalayim Ki v'echad levad matanu Melech Avram v'Nisan Adon Olamim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonai Kadosh Gadol Adonai iti U'berom Shemo Yada Leha Adonai HaGedula VaHaGevura VaHaTiferet VaHaNetzach VaHaHod Ki B'Shamayim V'Ba'aretz Ki B'Shamayim V'Ba'aretz Leha Adonai Shabbat achim gam yachad, hine ma tov u'manayim. Shabbat achim gam yachad, hine ma tov, la 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 la, hine ma tov, la 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 la, hine ma tov u'manayim. Shabbat achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet
Now, first of all, I'm a lefty. And this Torah is really heavy on your right hand today. But second, see, as I passed by, someone suggested that I not drop it. So I have to tell you that when I was younger, I was the youth group president at Emanuel congregation, and for fun, we went on a weekend to Michigan City, Indiana. And I don't know if you've ever been to that particular congregation, but in Michigan City, it's kind of like this, except there are only 2 steps and they're lower. And because I was the president of the youth group, I was asked to hold the Torah. And actually, it was such a long time ago that cowl necks are back in fashion. I know exactly what I was wearing. And what I was wearing is important because it's a visual, because I was holding the Torah like this, and I was looking down, and I knew there was 1 step, but I didn't know there were 2. And there was my cowl neck, this is much bigger. And I went, and the Torah was 100% right here. Before I covered. And I was new to Reformed congregations. I grew up in a traditional congregation, so I was a little bit nervous, and I don't think I touched a Torah for a long time after that. All right, let's find it. There you go.
Right,
Right.
the page right there next to you right in that book is the right page number.
You're saying things to me.
On
and
the
I'm not-
left-hand side, I turned it right here.
Yeah, I see. Here we go.
So if you want to
Oh,
follow
so-
along,
Page 1149. You can. Here, you take this, right there. Okay, go ahead.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevarach. Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Here, to this side. You can stay. Here, actually, you know what? If you put your hand right there, it'll help. Fantastic. Amen. Vayelech Moshe. Vayedaber. That's wrong. Already it's wrong. Vayedaber et hadavarim ha'ela el kol Yisrael. Vayomer aleihem ben mea be'esrim shana anochi hayom lo uchal od latzeit v'lavo Vadonai amar Eli lo ta'avor et hayarden hazeh Adonai Elohecha. Why can't I find it? Hu over lefanecha, hu yashmid et hagoyim ha'ele milfanecha, v'ishtam Yehoshua hu over lefanecha ka'asher daber Adonai. So this says basically in English, and Moses came and he said these things to the people, to all the people, Vayomer Aleihem, and he said to them, I am 120 years old today, and I can't come and go like I used to. And God said to me, don't go over this Jordan River. And God will go over with you and will destroy your enemies, the non-Jewish nations, from in front of you, and you'll get their inheritance. And Joshua will cross with you, just like God said.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu tarat emet v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah.
This Torah portion, I'm not going to speak about it, but because there are other rabbis and Jewish scholars, I just want to say that this Torah portion has my second favorite piece of Torah in it. You know, it's very few people who can say, you know, what their favorite line of Talmud is or what their favorite line of Torah is. And so this has two of my favorite lines of Torah, and one of them is, it comes up just a few verses later, I think it's verse 7, Chazak v'amatz. And chazak v'amatz, chazak is strong, and amatz is courage. And so it's supposed to be said to someone going to war, chazak v'amatz, like, it's okay, everything's going to be all right, be strong and of good courage. But I like to say it all the time. So, you know, if a colleague is going into a board meeting that might not go their way, you know, chazak v'amatz. If the cantor has a particularly difficult Kabbalat mitzvah, bar bat mitzvah student, chazak v'amatz, I think they are very useful words. All right, cantor, time for a mishaberach.
It is indeed. Thank you, Rabbi. Our thoughts turn now to those who are in need of refuah shlema, refuat haguf, refuat, any sort of healing, so that they know that we support them. We don't expect the universe to go off course, but we do want people to know that we're thinking about them, we're keeping them in our hearts. And we've been asked to think about Aviva Aliza, Jody Ashenhertz, John Archer, Steve Barron, Rosalie Bertocchi, David Burchett, Glenn David, George Dean, Stephen Engelman, Estlin Garb, Marcy Gelber, George Guth, Phyllis Goldblatt, Don Grandolfo, Harriet Grossbart, Ariana Jimenez, Leah Jones, Carl Colbin, Jeffrey Krause, Miriam Lyon, Gerald Marks, Deborah Miller, Eileen McNichols, Sharon Montesi-Garskoff, Irene Noperstack, Lois Pavelon, Rich Reisman, Alan Sager, Casey Siengo, Fred Skier, Kristen Rouse Skinner, Tali Stein, Lavana Orabat, Svetlana, Cameron Michael Taft, Eddie Tucker, Avraham Ben Sivia, Edith Vosovsky, Sally Waitley, Marsha Weinstein, Yosef Raphael, Ben Yehudit. We make a beautiful noise as we call forth those names we're keeping close to our hearts now.
Netanel Ben Tamar.
Thank you for all those names and more. Mi sheberach avotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, veYaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, veRachel. May the one who blessed our fathers, may the one who blessed our mothers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. I invite you to rise as we lift our scroll, as we dress it. La 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 la
Some of you have heard the story, but it bears repeating because, again, this doesn't happen so often, but when I was a student in Cincinnati, I had two different congregations. I was a student congregation, and one of them was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in the UP, where I was for 2 years, although it seemed longer because there were times when I was supposed to be there for 2 days that I was there for 4, because someone wisely built the airport on, on a high plane, and so sometimes you could neither get in or out of the airport. In any case, I tell this story about standing up and sitting down because there is someone who I would say was a congregant, but I would more say was a teacher, because those congregations allowed 24 and 25-year-olds to come and pretend we knew something. And so one of those congregants or teachers is here tonight, and it reminds me that at my very first service, at my very first congregation, which was not there but in Decatur, Illinois, I asked people to rise at the Baruch and didn't remember to ask them to sit down until it was time to ask them to rise at the Amidah again, and I realized that they were still standing. So those congregations are incredibly helpful in building the future of the rabbinate. The Torah portion tonight is interesting because it talks about the day of Moses' death. Today I am 120, and you might know the Yiddish phrase, ad mea ve'esrim, right? It's used in Yiddish, it's really Hebrew, ad mea ve'esrim. When someone has a birthday, we wish that they live to 120. This is the age that Moses lived in. It's unauspicious. If you're able to live to that age, you really must be something. These last few Torah portions are very short. And in this Torah portion, clearly Moses transfers power. He gives the Levites some direction. And one thing, he talks about reading the Sefer Torah. And one of the commandments that is interesting from this Torah portion is the commandment of hakel. Right? You might hear in the word hakel, especially those of you who speak Hebrew or read or teach Hebrew, the word kihila. Right? The Hebrew word hakel is to gather. Kihila is a community. And in this Torah portion, we talk about hakel. What's hakel is there's a commandment every 7 years at the time of Sukkot that the entire community comes together to hear the Torah. Everyone makes a pilgrimage to hear the Torah together. And it's always interesting to me. Did I talk about this? No. I talked about this last week, not the week before when I was with you. It's always interesting to me when the Torah says, gather the community, and then talks about who the community is, right? Because we know, or we think, our tradition says that the Torah doesn't have any extra words. So if you say, hakel et ha'am, gather the community, that's fairly obvious, right? But they want us to know exactly who that community is. And so what it suggests is the community is the men and the women and, interestingly, the children and the strangers within our midst. So it's not only the adults who are responsible for mitzvot, who have to hear the Torah, but it's the children and the strangers, people who will one day be responsible for mitzvot, and people who either help us on our own path to mitzvot or are so enamored from having lived alongside the Jewish community for such a long time that they decide to take on the mitzvot themselves. This year is actually, if you count 7 years, this year is a hakel year. Right? So in Sukkot of 2022, if all of us still lived by the tradition, there would be a big pilgrimage and we would all hear Torah together. And it's interesting, and perhaps not coincidental. I like to feel that the world is guided by forces bigger than us, that this is a first time in a few years that we are gathering as a community around this time. Now, we're gathering as a bunch of separate communities, but we are more gathered this year than we have been before. So that's the first thing. We're already doing part of it, at least more than we have in recent past. What's the next thing? We come together to hear words of Torah. So the Talmud would suggest that if there's more than 2 people in a room and they're not passing words of Torah between them, then they're talking about the wrong thing, right? Now, you know how easy it is to talk about everything else, right? The weather, the traffic, your coworkers, the government. There's lots and lots of things to talk about. But the Talmud suggests that really we should have words of Torah on our lips. And hakel et ha'am, the commandment in this Torah portion says also, these should be in your ears. And actually, there's a dichotomy. Basically says, listen, we know you're not going to do it. We know you're going to fall away, because that's who you are. We've seen you fall away before, but you should remember that this is important to talk about. So, on this Shabbat Shuvah, this Shabbat of return, where if we haven't been caught by the spirit of these high holy days to think about who we are, to live our best selves, I think that part of the message of the Torah portion, and really this evening, is that whenever you gather, not just in the Jewish community, but really whenever you gather, whenever you're with people, that you speak words of Torah. Now, I don't mean that you're at a cocktail party and you start reciting the Shema, right? I mean, you could. You might get some funny looks, but what I mean is, and what I interpret the Torah to mean, is that when you're in a group of people and you have the opportunity to speak about the values that speak to you, that you shouldn't miss that opportunity, especially in the face of values that aren't your own. That it's always time to learn Torah, but it's also in gatherings always time to talk Torah, to say, we believe in equality. We believe in workers' rights. We believe in care for the environment, that there's never a time, especially when you have a large group around you, to speak your truth and to speak the truth from your heart. And I feel, at least for me, that the more you do that, the more actually you return to who you're meant to be. So, I know that the next days will be full of deep introspection, great celebration. One of my teachers many years ago said that Yom Kippur broke down the words. In the Torah it says Yom Kippurim, and they said it instead that it's a Yom Kippurim. It's a day like Purim. Why? Because on Purim, when we wear masks, right? If you've seen all those old romantic movies, when they have the mask on and no one knows who they are, right? Because the glasses really disguise Superman. Right? That when they have the mask on and no one knows who they really are, they can be who they are in their hearts. And so we talk about Yom Kippur, a day like Purim, because we should be unmasked and be who we are in our hearts. So I hope that over the next number of days, You have the opportunity to look into yourself and learn who you are, learn more fully who you are if you're already spending time in introspection. That you have chazak va'amatz, the bravery and the courage to allow that self to come forward from behind the masks that we wear every day, and that you speak your Torah. And when you come out of Yom Kippur, you come out joyous and ready for the more joyous festivals that are ahead, because you've come out of Yom Kippur as who you're meant to be. Shabbat Shalom.
Page 586. At the bottom of the page, please rise. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו כהמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ. 588. ומשה ויקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You can be seated. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh, to love. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched.
We remember Hannah Aronson, Anna Binder, Stuart Blankstein, James Bonham, Daisy Borer-Brash, Harris Bush, Mort Cohen, Sophie Ehrlich, Renee Lipschultz-Epstein, Jack Fenchel, Harry Gilbert, Gertrude Goldberg, Effie Greenberg, Hope Grossman, Simon William Hurwitz, Idabel Kahn, Selma Kantoff, Carl Kraus, Lois Laser, Florence Cooper-Meyer, Bernice Minkes, David Morris, Molly Oring, Celia Plotke, George Podolsky, Morton Sumner Postelnek, Robert Reimer, Celia Rose, Abner G. Rosenfeld, Noah Rothman, Alan Maurice Scheffner, B. Shulkin, William Tellisman, Robert Tokarski, Edna Zuckerman, and in Shloshim, Jim Post, Sheila Getzenberg. Any omissions? Thank you. I invite those who are in mourning or who have a yahrzeit, please rise first. and those whose custom it is to please join them. Page 598.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayei chon u'v'yomei chon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ameh amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah
Brihu.
Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata ta'amiram ba'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Many, many thanks to Rabbi Toby Manwith. Not only is she a fierce rabbi, she's a dear, dear friend, and I feel grateful every time I get to be with you. Not just in this setting, but anytime I get to be with you.
Shelley and I like to think that we make whole foods holy.
We do. At least the hot bar. I can't say about the rest of the place, but at least the hot bar. And to our other teachers, Rabbi Rooks, Rabbi Rapport, to all of you who make Shabbat happen. How grateful we are that you are here. So it's something that we all just really love to sing, and as it is the season, page 662. 662, I will tell you a little secret. There's something called a kamatz katan, so it's actually chonenu. Just a little secret, just a little something. I picked up over the years when I was saying chanenu. Page 662, sing with me. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu vanenu. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu vanenu, ki ein vanu masib. Asay manu, tzedaka v'chesed. Asay manu, tzedaka v'chesed, ve'hoshienu. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu va'anenu. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu va'anenu, ki ein banu masim.
Shabbat shalom, Shana
Shana
tova,
tova.
Gamar chatima tova. May you be written and sealed for a year of health and calm and joy in the book of life.
Amen. Shabbat shalom.